An acolyte kills the dream.
Hi, my name is Nacho, welcome back to the channel. And that dream was Star Wars, and this show is truly killing it. But let's be honest, no one with an ounce of reason expected the Acolyte to be any good, from the early to the current interviews.
Woman-centered figure.
Perhaps our existence, you know, just like anything that exists outside of the binary, many can find that, the establishment can find that threatening.
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
From the lack of promotional footage to the disastrous ratio that the trailer received, to the now steadily declining Rotten Tomatoes score that lunatics are calling a review bombing. It's not a bombing if it premiered with a terrible score. From the laughing stock that the actors are making of themselves to the gaslighting every media outlet under the sun is enforcing in defense of the show that wouldn't even score a graveyard spot in TV if streaming wasn't a thing. So far, a pathetic 3% of Disney Plus subscribers have tuned in to watch it. Have they done a "this show has the highest numbers on the entire franchise and is doing absolutely great"? They have, huh? But the first two episodes of The Acolyte dropped and it was so underwhelming that I watched both of them back to back, left for work, and when I came back the folder with episode 2 was still open and I said to myself, damn, I better watch this so I can start writing the review. 5 minutes in I realized that I've already watched it. I forgot that I did. That's how memorable this show is. The few things that stuck with me were the stuff made into memes, like the fire in space with the campfire dove waft sound effect they added to it. You've probably seen the interview with Lesley and Amanda laughing their asses off with the statement that this is the gayest Star Wars show ever.
Not the gayest Star Wars, not the...
True, but in my world, nerds are gay.
Okay. Why are you gay?
And you can tell that it is with that one scene where Osha is basically flirting with X-23.
I thought that only our two droids did the outer ship work.
But I'm better company than a droid, and way more flexible.
Yes, do elaborate on how flexible a mechanic should be.
I'm sorry, Pip. Pip is also very flexible.
Oh my!
I was honestly expecting her to say that the droid also vibrates. And if there's honestly a show that you should skip, this is it here. Because not only is disrespectful to what Star Wars was, not only was created by a former woman abuser facilitator, it also stars a racist hypocrite that sucks at action scenes, on top of being a huge money-wrapped envelope for the message. And that's no joke, it cost $750,000, the price of a very small studio apartment, per minute. And if you don't like it, you're a racist bigot who's not welcome in the fanbase. How ironic. On top of all of that, this show has the gall, the nerve, the chutzpah, the cojones to be fucking boring. But let's get into it, and quickly, cause I still need to make a video about Furiosa. First, let me show you the ending of episode 1, where the bad twin is walking to her non-Sith but very much a Sith master who says that the Jedi can't be killed with neither steel nor lightsabers.
If you attack a Jedi with a weapon, you will fail. Steel or laser are no threat to them.
Remember that, please. So the episode opens with the evil twin finding Trinity in a bar, just chilling, having lunch.
Attack me with all your strength.
Charlotte, I'm eating.
First of all, rude. Second, cringe. Because Evil Rue starts tossing dudes around like they are nothing. No one has a gun cause this is apparently peace times. Reminds me a lot of Rebel Moon, another piece of shit cinema where everyone can shoot at the small frame boss girl but no one can hit her. Cause the guns belong to the patriarchy and that shit doesn't fly in Hollywood. Anyways, after mopping the floor with all the men, hashtag not a feminist joke, the girl bosses start fighting, and I'm curious how anyone thinks this is actually good fight choreography. Like, they have to be trolling. Cause Trinity is doing nothing else but blocking with one arm, and any offensive move she takes against the person who's very clearly trying to kill her are exclusively force pushes. By the way, they used force a lot in this show, like in abusive amounts. They use it to open doors, for Christ's sake. But Evil Rue is able to keep up with the Jedi Master cause the Jedi Master is doing nothing to neutralize her. The force pushes, if anything, are giving her more room to continue attacking. You're telling me that the bottom half of her face is more easily recognizable than the top? How many red-dyed dreadlock black midgets are there in the galaxy? 2. And you know both of them. They've had the same haircut their entire freaking life. The hell you mean? It's you. When she can't defeat her with her punches, she starts throwing knives at her.
Steel or laser are no threat to them.
Yeah, well, that's not entirely true, isn't it? Because a lightsaber can kill almost everything, except diverse women, but especially Jedi. And as we see here, steel also seems to work rather well. What annoys me the most is that Trinity, a Jedi Master, a highly trained Force user, stops the first knife with one hand and doesn't even consider turning around and using her other hand to stop the knife that's flying at her heart. Idiots on the internet are jumping at the criticism of this scene, saying that, yeah, well, she got stabbed in the heart and she bled out, and the lightsaber cauterized Sabine's wound. A lightsaber burns hotter than the sun. It would literally boil your blood in less than a second, and Sabine survived it with less than a scar. I would like to think that a tiny throwing knife wouldn't be that much of a threat to one of the most powerful warriors in the galaxy. But yeah, Carrie-Anne Moss, the most recognizable face in the entire show, is killed 6 minutes into the first episode, and that's half the budget spent on using her likeness to promote this hot garbage. So when the news of this gets to the Jedi, they go find the killer, whose description also happens to match Evil Rue's identical twin that used to be a Jedi, Osha, who quit her Jedi training to become a mechanic, and this is where the famous fire in space scene happens, which I think is weird, because this truly looks like a campfire in space where oxygen wouldn't be around to fuel the flames. But they confront Osha, the one dude from the bar identifies her as the killer, and instead of, I don't know, using Jedi mind tricks to double check it, they take the dude's word as solid proof and they book her in. By the way, the Jedi are basically space cops, and because the show is written by liberal women, they are not the good guys. But I want to speed through some of this because we still have an episode left. So the ship that was transporting Osha is sabotaged by inmates, and they all make it out except for her, and she survives an orbital crash by strapping herself to the seat in the cockpit. I'm gonna say that again because I don't think I got the point across. She fell from space at terminal velocity, crashed into a frozen planet, and walked it off. She doesn't even have a scratch on her. She's even running 2 minutes later. Oh well, I guess she did grab her head before crashing, so I guess that'll do it. They tell you to do that in planes anyway, so must be a reason for it. Cut to the Jedi Temple to the Green Nipple Lady. If you don't know why I'm calling her this, that's because that's Lesley Headland's wife, who I'm sure landed the big role solely based on her acting prowess. Green Jedi boss woman sends Master Soul, the only decent actor so far in the show, to get Osha, as she was his former Padawan. So they have a little bit of history, and he takes his new Padawan, X-23, and generic black-haired Jedi Knight dude. Now, do you guys remember that one scene from Star Trek Into Darkness that got a ton of heat from the feminists, where Alice Eve is changing and Kirk turns around to see her? How that was just there for the male gaze? Well,
Master Soul, I thank you for choosing me for this mission. I should have brought Osha in myself. I apologize for my error.
Yod, put your clothes on.
the thing is, because this is made by Lesley Headland, the completely out of place and unnecessary shot of the Jedi Knight steaming his robe topless, you see, this is not a thirst trap because Lesley is an artist. This is art. This humiliating ritual of the goddamn Jedi Knight is absolutely crucial to the plot. Anyways, that little moment lasted 23 seconds, much like me with my ex-girlfriend, which means that that had a production cost of $287,500. And this is where the very talented writers of the show shine the most. X-23 asks Soul about Osha, and he tells the rest of the crew that she had a twin who he saw dying a long time ago. Cause he says this, and not even 5 minutes later, when they get to Osha, she says that her evil twin did it, and he goes,
May is alive.
I believe you.
so you didn't saw her die. And the cherry on this shit cake is that there's an explanation for this in the next episode, which is that she must have survived somehow. Somehow
Palpatine returned.
God damn it, not again.
In the next episode, Evil Rue goes for the second Jedi. I'll spoil the reason why. She thinks that they are responsible for the death of her mothers, plural, after she started the fire that killed her whole tribe. Yes, she thinks they are to blame. Because this is probably an allegory for racism, and this is very much exemplified with the next Jedi, a very white Master Torben, a powerful master who looks like a middle-aged divorced plumber. That beard looks cheap. But then again, this is feminist Star Wars. We cannot have the powerful white guy look anywhere cool, because we hate white guys. This guy is so in tune with the Force that he's been meditating for 10 years after taking the Varash vow and dedicating himself only to the Force. We see that because he took this vow, Evil Rue can't touch him, she can't punch him, she can't kick him, she can't use her knives on him.
Steel or laser.
Whatever, she is nothing to the guy. He is so in tune with the Force, she's unable to get anywhere near him. So, she plans to poison him. But how is she gonna poison him if she can't touch him? Well, you see, she won't have to. Because the best method to wake up a Jedi Master from his vow of silence is white guilt. According to her, he has to pay for her crimes to gain true absolution, which he already had in order to be that in tune with the Force. But he kills himself, kinda like he's paying reparations. While all of this is happening, the useless gang was wasting time talking to the Jedi Temple manager and his body-positive Padawan, Obesity, and his body-positive Padawan, Milkshake, and his body-positive Padawan, Kylo Reese. The fries are strong with this one. So they found out that Master Torben killed himself with a poison from Osh's planet, so they go and find the only apothecary in the village, who just happens to be Evil Rue's accomplice, who decided to stick around after taking out the original owner. And here's yet another annoying thing about this show, because the Jedi you see have a hierarchy. You got Padawans, you got Jedi Knights, and you got Jedi Masters. Here, for example, when Saul asks what should we do, the generic black-haired dude suggests a solid plan: let's capture and interrogate the bad guy. And then X-23, the Padawan, suggests that why don't we just use Osha? Now obviously, because this is feminist Star Wars, we are gonna completely ignore the chain of command and go with the Padawan's plan, which goes remarkably well. Why would we need to interrogate the suspect when he will just tell everything we need to the sister lookalike, who barely says anything but hello, acts suspicious the whole time, and has shorter hair? Nice try, Jedi Knight, but unfortunately you have a dick, so that makes your opinion literally worthless. We are going to go with the girl's plan. So the bad guy spills all the beans and they ambush Evil Rue.
I see her.
Well, fuck me, Lucio, I didn't recognize her. Thank God we have someone with your level of perception in the team. And then a repeat from episode 1, where the Jedi Master is doing circles around her, disarming her without her even noticing it. And another tremendous display of terrible on-screen fighting, where the kicks she throws are aimed nowhere near his head.
That's quite big.
She sucks. But she's definitely getting caught this time, right? I mean, she's 2v1 versus two powerful Jedis. There is a ship overhead pinning her location. No, of course she escapes. Because this is feminist Star Wars. Nothing has to make sense. She runs into her sister, who aims a taser at her from a fairly close distance and misses. And you might think, oh well, it's her sister, she missed on purpose. No, because she fires again and misses because they both fucking suck. Evil Rue learns the location of the next Jedi after being easily overpowered by her friend. Yeah, that guy is a Sith. And everyone knows that the Wookiee Jedi is next, so the logical thing to do is to get to him first and prepare an ambush, right? Wrong, because this is feminist Star Wars. So Green Nepo Lady says to Saul that they need to talk about it in the council and waste enough time to be late when the call to action finally arrives. So that was the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte, which are not good. And they're supposedly their strongest ones. You are meant to open with your best if you want to keep people watching. The thing is, that is not a possibility with this show, because this is lesbian fanfiction. This is feminist activist IP abuse that can be easily confirmed as such just by how poorly managed their budget is. But the biggest offender, much like Harvey, and why I'm calling this the end of Star Wars, is that apparently episode 3 is going to ruin the franchise with the unhealthy weight of the message. And it did. Hi there, Nacho from the future. Turns out when you take too long to edit your videos, the episodes of the show you were reviewing catch up to you. So episode 3 released, and it's everything you could have imagined, only worse. Because nothing really happens. I was falling asleep whilst watching it, yet people are calling it the most riveting episode ever. No. We learned the backstory of the witches, and how apparently women like them are not accepted in the galaxy.
Lesbians?
Very subtle, Lesley. However, wrong, cause I've watched plenty of their movies. And it's implied that the Jedi kidnapped children, which isn't true because they asked them if they wanted to be Jedi, and the mother lesbian threatened them to cut off their tongues. May doesn't want Osha to live with the Jedi, so she opts to kill her instead. And the fire she starts kills the rest of the witches. Allegedly. Who gives a shit? They were probably evil anyway. The bottom line is that these women were given the gift of life and are able to conceive children without sex in order to perpetuate their covenant. Because who needs fathers, right? Clearly not Amanda, given that she loves white tears so much. Also, 2 little black girls in space who grew up without a dad? What is Disney trying to say with this? Basically, this episode is a carbon copy of the Phantom Menace. Pun, very much intended. Where Lesley copied someone else's work, adding a "does it come in black?" and "gay." One of the biggest plot elements of the franchise was changed to now come from a woman. The whites are evil, and there's also chanting, not a single thread of creativity. Anakin, the guy who blew up the Death Star, is no longer the chosen one or special in any way, cause the Force already had 2 childs, women, of course, and one of them turned to the dark side. The Jedi are the bad guys and the Force is female and not the Force. So the respect that Boxhead over here says she had for the franchise that allegedly saved her life went out the window with this episode. If only Star Wars could have helped all the women that she introduced to Harvey, hey. And like I said, this is lesbian fanfiction, and if you don't watch a single episode of this terrible show, I can easily summarize it like this. Stop doing that, I'm gonna ruin my scissors. And what else could you expect from the terrible director, writer, and former secretary of Harvey Weinstein, Lesley Headland? I'm going to bet a crispy 20 that the Sith Lord from episode 1 is also a woman. They can do whatever they want with the franchise. They wanna make it lame and gay? Fine. The fans are not gonna watch it because it's not something that appeals to them. Much like what's happening with Doctor Who, whose first ever gay kiss recorded the lowest rating in 60 years. You wanna kill the dream? Go for it. But don't you dare calling whoever opposes your shit a racist, bigot, homophobe. You're the one who allowed all those women to go through Harvey's grinder and probably blackmail your way into being a director of a multi-million-dollar franchise with very little experience. The problem is that mentality is not only toxic, it's contagious, and you have idiots on Twitter saying stuff like Star Wars is for everyone. If you have criticism, you are free to voice it. Unless you have a problem with gays, women or blacks, in that case, you can fuck off. Which is it? Is everyone welcome? Or just the people who don't argue with you? Make up your mind. Also, hashtag, there's only 2 genders. So the future of Star Wars doesn't look too bright. The franchise has been in a steady decline ever since Kathleen Kennedy became the president of it. It might not die right away, but it will walk a shell of itself for a while because Disney believe that the racist, sexist, hypocritical activists that they hire are the ones that will help them recover their investment. Star Wars might die, and they will blame us for it. But if you watched this far into it, leave us a like. Let me know in the comments down below. When was the last time you actually enjoyed Star Wars? And as always, I've been Nacho. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.